with you about verification or corroboration of statements made to law enforcement by you that we listen to on recordings, okay? And by verification, I mean something that, besides your word, it supports what you say, okay? You understand what I'm asking you?
William asked you anything yet? Do you understand what he's saying?
I don't understand that. You want
Maybe just ask him a question.
So the district attorney Hilton started to talk with you about what she said, verification of what you said to the police. So I want to talk to you about verification or lack thereof, okay? If you don't understand anything, just tell me you don't understand. The first one that Ms. Hilton said is that Jeffrey rented a Infinity vehicle. Remember that? Yes or no?
I don't recall.
Do you remember she put up for you State's Exhibit number 334Y? It said Hertz on it. You were talking about some of the words on the exhibit behind you. Do you
I don't
remember that?
recall.
Okay. Do you remember getting beaten in Club Crucial on the early morning hours of Tuesday, January 6th of 2015?
I didn't get beat.
Do you remember having your lip cut open, knot on the
No,
top of your head,
No, I didn't have. I just had a knot on my face.
and your eyes swollen? You remember that? Do you remember that? Yes or no?
I don't recall.
If that's on the early morning hours of January 6th, 2015, do you remember going to Jeffrey Williams?
I don't
Next
remember
day.
anything from 2015.
Well, let me finish my question. Do you remember going to Jeffrey Williams the next day and explaining that you got beaten at Club Crucial and you needed a car because you didn't want to drive around in the car that you typically drive around because you didn't want to be noticed in the area? Do you remember telling him that?
I don't recall.
Do you remember saying to
All right, hang on a second. When there's an objection on the floor, let me hear the objection and make a ruling on it, all right? Before you ask the next question. Assume he's moved on, so we're not gonna worry about that one. Go ahead.
Do you remember saying to Jeffrey Williams that you needed a car and he was driving? He had a Corvette vehicle, a rental car from Hertz. Do you remember that?
I don't recall.
Do you remember realizing that a Corvette has two seats and you have a child with a car seat as well as your child's mother, Deshawn, at that time, and you needed a bigger car? I'm asking questions to see whether he remembers this conversation.
Okay, sustained that is not a fact in evidence at this point.
Question, ask him if it's happened.
So you may ask that question.
That's my question. Do you remember that?
Hmm?
Do you remember saying that to Jeffrey?
Same way.
That you couldn't use a Corvette. He had a rental Corvette. You needed a bigger car because the Corvette's a two-seater.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember Jeffrey saying, sure?
Sustained.
Do you remember going to Hertz rental car at approximately 8 o'clock at night on January 7th of 2015 so that Jeffrey could get you a rental car, an Infinity rental car?
He can ask whether he remembers that or not.
I don't remember.
Do you remember telling this jury on direct examination weeks ago that that rental car, that Infinity, was in your care?
I said that?
Yeah. Do you remember saying that?
No.
Do you remember driving that Infinity rental car from the time it was picked up from the Hertz rental car on January 7, 2015 until it was returned on January 12, 2015?
Hmm?
Do you remember driving that Hertz rental car that we're talking about from the time it was picked up on January 7th, 2015, and having control of it until it was returned on January 12th, 2015?
I don't remember 2015.
Do you remember driving with Mr. Zachary? Little D. Remember driving with Mr. Zachary and striking cones on the side of the road on the highway and damaging the Infinity rental car? Do you remember doing that?
Don't recall.
Do you remember giving that Infinity rental car to other people on the night of January 10th, 2015?
I can't remember 2015.
Let me ask you this way. Do you deny having that Infinity rental car January 7th, 2015?
It's me.
Did you have that car in and around your person?
I gave the car to 3.
You told the jury that you gave that car to your friend, and the threat is Mr. Turner. You know his last name? True? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the for the court reporter as a yes. Is that fair?
Yes.
And you told the jury you gave the car to Mr. Turner the day of the killing of Donovan Thomas. From that morning to that night. You know what I'm talking about? January 10th, 2000.
I didn't mean to say that.
Okay. That's what you said.
Out of frustration.
Right. Now, you also had that rental car, not only when you gave it to Mr. Turner, your friend, but you had that rental car before you gave it to Mr. Turner, obviously, right? Otherwise, you couldn't give it to him.
I don't recall.
And you had the rental car after you gave it to Mr. Turner, right?
I don't recall.
All right, let me ask you this. Getting to the fact that the state showed you that on State's Exhibit 334Y, that Jeffrey rented the Infinity from Hertz, you were there, right?
I can't remember.
That has nothing to do at the time of this killing, does it? That's 3 days before, right?
I can't remember.
And what you're telling the jury, or what the state wants you, I believe, to tell the jury, is that Jeffrey Williams rented a car I think it's clear.
Re-ask your question.
Okay. Jeffrey Williams, therefore, rents a car in his own name that's going to be used in the killing of Donovan Thomas. That's what you're telling the jury.
Rephrase your question.
The rental car that's used to kill Donovan Thomas, are you telling the jury that Jeffrey Williams rented a car in his own name?
I don't know what car was used to kill him.
Okay. All right. So what corroborates for the killing of Donovan Thomas on January 10th, 2015? Corroborates means supports or verifies. What corroborates the fact that Jeffrey Williams rented that car with you 3 days earlier? I'm asking.
Okay, I think maybe it calls for speculation. Can you rephrase it?
Sure. The district attorney started questioning you about the Hertz rental car on January 7, 2015, talking about verification of what you said to the police. I'm asking you, how does it verify anything you told the police that Jeffrey Williams was involved in the killing of Donovan Thomas? The fact that he rented that car for you 3 days before.
Sustained.
Does that, the fact that Jeffrey did a favor for you, does that verify anything about the killing of Donovan Thomas and Jeffrey Williams was involved?
overruled on that basis, that it's not a proper question. Ask a different question.
Can you tell the jury how Jeffrey Williams doing you a favor 3 days before in that vehicle, the Infinity vehicle from Hertz, how does that put Jeffrey Williams involved in the killing of Donald Thomas? They asked this question to verify.
Okay, that question overruled on that basis.
How does that support your statement to the police?
Huh?
How does that corroborate or verify your statement to the police?
What you mean?
That Jeffrey was involved in anything to do with the killing of Mr. Thomas?
The police did it.
Okay. Number two, you were asked by the district attorney specifically a little while ago that Jeffrey was in, that you told the police that Jeffrey, on June 10th, 2015, you told the police that Jeffrey was in the Infinity at the Texaco gas station. Remember that question?
I didn't tell the police did.
Right. Do you remember what you told the police?
But I told them that I don't know what I done told the police.
Do you remember telling the police, and this is, Your Honor, on State's Exhibits 378YE, June 10, 2015, interrogation of Mr. Copeland at 255:48 to 256:06. Mr. Copeland, remember saying, just listen to the story. So they seen him. They switched cars at the gas station. Thug, meaning Jeffrey, got in the car with the girl. Thug, and I think a little D. Remember saying that?
I lie and tell the police anything. This was my, anytime they question me, this was my intention was, getting them out from me. So what I done told them was whatever I said.
Okay, well, I'm going to play with the court's permission, Your Honor. Just for simplicity, I made this JW240N as a nice, and it's really State's Exhibit 378YE. It's just easier to find snippet, and it's from 255:48 to 256:06. It's already in evidence.
All right.
You might need your earphone if you need them.
Can you hang on a second before I play or not?